Okay, we're now going to look at question 7. So this is a probability question. Two events A and B are complementary. So what does it mean for two events to be complementary? It means that if event A happens, then event B can't happen. Okay, and likewise, if event B happens, then event A can't happen. Okay, so complementary and make up the entire sample size. Okay, also P not A. So if you see a probability with that little apostrophe, that means it's not A. Okay. So the probability of not A is 0.35. Okay, 7.1.1. Complete the statement. The probability of A plus the probability of B equals to 1. And that's because, like I said, if you're doing A, you can't do B. If you're doing B, you can't do A. But they also say that it makes up the entire sample size. So that means you only have two options. So if you're doing A, you have to do A, you can't do B, and if you're doing B, you have to do B and not A. And there's no other options. So that means that if you add the probabilities up, it's equal to 1. Okay, write down the value of the probability of getting A and B. So that's obviously 0, because like I said, you can only do one or the other. Okay, write down the probability, the value of PB. So we have the probability of not A. Okay, so if you're not doing A, you have to be doing B. So that just means that it's the same, right? So the probability of not A is the same as the probability of B. Okay, cool. So that was pretty easy. Let's go on to 7.2. A survey was conducted among 150 learners in grade 10 at a certain school to establish how many of them owned the following devices: smartphone or tablet. The results were as follows: 8 learners did not own either, 20 learners owned both, 48 owned a tablet, and X owned a smartphone. Represent the information above in a Venn diagram. Okay, so let's draw ourselves a Venn diagram. Okay, so we'll start with our rectangle to contain everything. And now remember, we have two options. Basically, it's for smartphone and for tablet. So I'll draw two circles. Okay. So let's start here. Our total amounts, our total sample is 150. So we say S is 150. Okay. 8 learners did not own either. So 8 is outside of the two circles. Okay. 20 owned both. So 20 can go there. And let's call this here smartphone. Let's call this tablet. Okay. 48 owned a tablet. Okay, so this entire circle here represents the tablet. Okay, so 20 is already accounted for there, so the remainder is 28. Okay, oops, 20. Okay, and then for the X learners owned a smartphone. Okay, so that's going to be X minus 20. Okay, why do I say that? Because remember, this whole circle has to equal to X, and if we already accounted for 20 in the intersection here, then the rest is X minus 20. Okay, fine. How many learners, let's look at the next question now. How many learners owned only a smartphone? Okay, so that's that X minus 20 figure. Okay, so if you think about this now, let's just put this in. This is 7.2.1, 7.2.2 now. If you think about this, we have 150 people in total. So everything that we add up must come back to 150, sorry. So we first have the 8 that don't own either. Then we have this 28 that own only a tablet. Then we have 20 who own both. And then we have X minus 20 who own only a smartphone. Okay. And now you can see we have one unknown, so it's pretty simple. We just take all of these to the other side and subtract it, and the 20 as well, but that's going to become positive 20, and then we can solve for x. So I'll just punch all this into a calculator. So 150 minus 8 minus 28 minus 20 plus 20, that gives us 114. Okay, so x is 114, right? X, but the number of people who owned only a smartphone is x minus 20. Okay, so therefore number of students with only a smartphone is equal to 114 minus 20, which is 94. Okay, now let's see what 7.2.3 says. It says calculate the probability that a learner selected at random from this group owned only a smartphone. So we already calculated. Okay, so let's see, probability of only smartphone is the number of smartphones over the total, right? So let's say total. So that's equal to 94 over 150. Okay, so you can just punch that into your calculator and see what you get. I get 0.63. Okay, the next one says calculate the probability that a learner selected random from this group owned at most one type of device. Okay, at most one type of device. So that means that you need okay, so at most one type of device means that if you think about it, right, you have a few options here. You can either own 0 devices, right, and that's none. You can own one device, so that's either a smartphone. You can own one device, and that's either a tablet. You can own 2 devices, and that's a smartphone and a tablet, right? So they're asking for at most one. So that means you must account for all of these possibilities except this one here, okay? Because that's 2 devices, but they're saying the max at 1, okay? So that means we have to find the probability or the total or the probability of owning these individuals and then add it together. Okay, so the probability of at least or at most one device is equal to the probability of a smartphone only plus the probability of a tablet only plus the probability of none, right? So that's 94 over 150 plus 48, and remember 20 plus 28, so 48. Oh no, sorry, not 48, 28, because we want only at 1, right? Because this would be 2, so it's only 28. 28 on 1 only, so it's 28 over 150 plus, and then the probability of none is 8. Okay, so that's 8 over 150. Now if you add that all up, put it in your calculator, you should get 0.86 or 0.87. Okay, so that's the whole paper done. If you have any questions, you can leave them below and I'll see if I can get to them. And if something is unclear, you can also ask that down there. Thank you.